Cullen, twice a winner on the PDC Tour this year against Tony Martinez on his European Tour debut. Came through 6-3 against Paul Rowley yesterday. Paul Nicholson in the commentary box alongside me. Paul, what did you make of Martinez's debut?
Very impressive. There was a bit of talk about him in the practice room and before we even arrived this weekend, saying he was a rather jovial character. He's definitely living up to that reputation. But his darts did a bit of talking yesterday. I think as debuts go, it was one of the best I've seen in quite a while.
Yeah, seemed unflustered. Had beat Dimitri van den Berg to get here as well, his Belgian counterpart. So obviously got the talent, and we looked at his record over the years yesterday. He's played in some big events, not least the World Masters.
Ladies and gentlemen, first leg Joe to throw first. Game on!
But Joe Cullen enjoying the best year of his darting life so far. 2 titles. Got past the first round at Ali Pali for the first time in December last year. Really is taking great strides in 2017.
Absolutely right. Joe Cullen against Corey Cadby, my favourite game of the last 12 months. It's going to take some effort for that to be topped. That was sheer entertainment. But what I like about Joe Cullen today, aside from that, is a brand new shirt. Now, in the era of the Rascal shirt, and I may have used that term a little bit too loosely over the last few weeks, it's nice to see something with a touch of class on it. No collar, a la Alan Warrener from a few years ago. Alan Warren a little.
52.
But I like what I see. Nice classy shirt. Well done, Joe.
We'll just flick back to that match you mentioned against Corey Cadby, because that was an awful draw for a man who lost 6 times in the first round in a row at Ali Pali. It was becoming a bit of a poison chalice for him to turn up.
Yeah, it was an awful draw. But he handled that situation as best he could. And you put him in the melting pot with what Cadby was doing at the time. That was a fantastic advertisement for darts. I don't think that'll be the last exciting encounter we ever see from the rock star. Now, blocked on the 60 for that, had to shift. Displeased. We can still leave a double. What a dart that is. And there's a great camera angle to show you the angles that he had to work with. And Tony cannot take the 136. So Joe comes back for a steady first leg.
100. So you require 16. Game shot in the first leg.
Very well done indeed from Joe Cullen. Tidy 16 dart leg, which is around about the 94 average mark. Interestingly enough, Murph, I think, and I may have said this before, darts is just not bringing through good youngsters and enhancing the existing players with extra money, sponsors, all that kind of stuff. It's bringing other players out of the woodwork. I think the modern darting atmosphere brought the likes of Ronnie Hybrechts into this. It's brought Tony Martinez into this. It's brought other players from all over the world into this. I mean, just recently, there's a guy in the Australian World Series events called Justin Thompson, who a few years ago just, put his darts away. I used to play Super League with him down in the Melbourne area. And then the lure of Australian World Series just brought him out of, you could class as a sort of retirement. It's just too much cheese in the trap.
Yeah, well, certainly Martinez is one of the players who was playing the odd BDO event, WDF event, but has been lured in by the European Tour. And I think the name that can highlight that the most on our menu today is Christoph Ratajski.
And what a player he's become.
What a visit that was from Joe Cullen, 177 to lead 32 to apply pressure on the 115. Timing perfect from Joe Cullen.
Game shot on the second leg.
For someone who doesn't really practice a lot of doubles, he's very, very good at them. I don't know whether you're aware, Murph, about his practice regime, Joe Cullen.
I'm sure you're going to enlighten me now, Paul.
He has a philosophy of just going for 20s the whole time. He feels that if he does that all the while, then he's going to get no emotional scarring on doubles in the practice room. He can go up there with a fresh head on every double. And it seems to work, because ever since he started doing that, he's been playing exceptionally well.
Well, I know his reasoning is the mental one that you've just described, but there is the other argument that, of course, going for a smaller target will make the bigger target feel easier.
That's what they say about the practice boards with the smaller segments. I find them infuriating. Sometimes they're good for a challenge, but using them over a prolonged period, I think, is detrimental to your confidence on a dartboard.
Adrian Lewis once told me that the bulk of his practice leading up to his first world title was on the bullseye.
Mark Webster said to me once before going to the World Grand Prix, which is just around the corner, he spent an entire month just going at tops.
Well, I've seen some players throw at tops at the start of a leg in the World Grand Prix for what can seem like an entire month, Paul.
Wasn't me, was it?
No comment.
Probably felt like it. Unfortunate for Cullen there. At 60 on the floor, but hang on a minute. He's going to be under pressure a little bit. This 53 has to go. Martinez has done a Cullen. Perfect timing.
Certainly was, but double top. Double 10.
43.
And just like Martinez did, he missed after the big shot from Cullen. Cullen's now missed.
You either love or hate double 7.
But he slightly dislike it now because he's blocked the bed. What a shot that is.
That's a sensational switch. Because that first dart, make no mistake, was covering it. And that is a really, really good adjustment. You've got to tip your hat to Tony Martinez. That's a fantastic shot.
Breaker throw as well. So not just eliminating the prospect of a whitewash at the hands of Joe Cullen, but he's actually got the match back on throw. Will need to break again though if he's going to win it.
Yeah, he's not an easy guy to break, Joe Cullen. He knows the importance of hanging on to your throw as a professional. If you can do that, it'll make you very hard to beat. Now, Murph, you know about some of these world champions who like to put stars on their shirts.
Yeah, Joe Cullen's won the World Championship 274 times, it seems.
Some more brightly than others, or more vivid.
Well, I'll have a word with Joe because I've got a little idea that if he does win a World Championship, he could just turn one of the stars gold.
Very good idea.
62.
What a visit from Cullen.
Yeah.
He was looking to leave a 167 or a 170, something like that. But he's filled up that treble 18 and he's made Martinez think. Fascinating like this.
Yeah, star turn from Joe Cullen.
60. Tony
Then a
requires
2-darter, as is Tony Martinez. And he gets 2 at double. On the wire. But in the bed, 2-2.
Tony Martinez.
Tell you what, this guy doesn't come with all the bells and whistles of a modern PDC professional, but he's got game, this fella. He really has. Because Cullen was strolling at the start of this match, but Tony has really calmed down now. He's in this match, and he's given Cullen problems. And his action, it reminds me of someone. It was driving me mad yesterday. I thought his throw, it's so reminiscent of someone I've seen. And it came to me early this morning. A guy by the name of Pip Blackwell from the southeast of England. It's very, very similar.
Well, it's an interesting action because it's actually a similar release point to that of Joe Cullen. But he lines it up in front of his face before releasing from somewhere near his shoulder, where Cullen's is one fluid motion, all in line with his shoulder.
It's one of the things about Joe Cullen's action. It's so good. It's brilliantly repetitive, but it is one straight line from the right-hand side of the head. Whereas, you're exactly right, with Martinez, it's lined up from the right eye or maybe even the right side of the nose, and then he switches it to the right side of his head, which is conducive to maybe hitting a 5, but he's definitely mastered his craft.
He's had a couple of 15-dart legs to level up in this match, but if Cullen can go out in 15 himself, he'll get back ahead.
Now in this situation, he doesn't have to go 20s. He can go whatever way he wants, and that'll do perfectly.
Cullen, 6-leg Tony to throw first. Game on.
Yep, 90 out for the Bradford man.
You get the feeling when watching Joe these days that when he's in a match like this, he's just comfortable in the battle. Whereas in previous times, you could potentially get stressed with how you're feeling, how you're playing. Hasn't been a vintage performance from Joe so far, but it's been good enough to give him a 3-2 lead. And his match and battle practice that he's had this year has readied him for games like this.
And he's been making positive steps forward in 2017.
77.
He said to me earlier in the year, sorry to interrupt you there, Chris, but he said that the last leg in the 6-5 win over Daryl Gurney in his first win, he found out more about himself in that leg than he's ever found out in his entire career. If you can do it under that pressure, he says you can do it anywhere. What he doesn't know is that if you get yourself in a world final or a major final, it's a little bit more. And I'm sure he'll find that out in the future with darts like that.
Certainly will, and where I was going was that the next sort of logical step is victory on this European tour, isn't it, for Joe Cullen? So these weekends will be particularly significant in his head.
Yes, indeed. He's got to go 20 bull now, or 60 for double 5.
82.
Only just missed. Now, what will Tony Martinez do? Will he go for the bull or will he go for treble 19?
Well, surely he should go for the bull. He has, and I think he's hit 13.
He may go for the bull again.
This time I don't think he should. He hasn't. 42 for double top.
55.
Absolutely right, Chris. 42 or treble 14 is a bigger target. That's a 1, only just.
Game showing the 6-leg.
And he just taps the head of that first dart that hits the 1, only just inside the wire. I mean, the most important thing is that it was in there.
Yeah, and sometimes a picture can paint 1,000 words, can't it? Joe Cullen's face after hitting that 1 told a story.
Well, he's a man of 1,000 faces, isn't he, Joe? He's got that customary eyebrow on his walk-on now, which is ever so comical, but brilliantly charismatic, and that's one of the reasons why we love to watch him.
Yep, I know he's disappointed not to have been handed a chance in World Series events this year, but I think that's all to come for Joe Cullen in the next couple of years if he carries on the climb.
That's the thing, he didn't get the nod this year, but round the corner, if he keeps playing this way and being himself, I don't think he needs to do anything else. If he just keeps doing what he's doing, then he doesn't have to knock on any doors. They'll be knocking on his.
He's knocking doors down.
37.
Well, he's the one over the last couple of legs that's made it very, very difficult for Tony Martinez.
43.
Yeah, Martinez did miss that dart tops, but Cullen has just taken control of this match.
Game shot,
and he's making it look very, very easy right now.
Well, the best players in the world, that's what they do. The Van Gerwens, the Andersons, the Taylors, the Chizzies.
Look at that. 107 almost on the average from Joe Cullen.
He will expect this kind of performance out of himself because he knows that he's got these statistics in his locker. There are a lot of players in the back who will second guess themselves. They'll think, yeah, I can average 100. But can I lift that another 5, 6, 7, maybe 10? In their own minds, maybe they're saying they can't. But Joe Cullen is one of those guys with the Kyle Andersons, the Darren Websters. They can lift their game that extra 10% to something that can win these European Tour events.
Well, 2 14s, a 13, a 12, amongst the winning legs. This could be somewhere like that as well.
That's a shocking standard, isn't it, Murph?
Well,
I mean, the game's in peril.
He'll be delighted with his performance because he was bitterly disappointed with how he played against Michael Smith last week in Maastricht. So have turned up and sent out a signal and set the standard here on this Saturday afternoon. Joe Cullen can sleep well this evening as he waits for his last 16 match tomorrow.
It's a little bit of an understatement to say that he was disappointed. I mean, his reaction at the end of the match when he screamed, so out of character for Joe, but sometimes you've got to let things slide.
Well, it's the old cliche, you're only as good as your last game.
86. Tony, you require.
And if this is his last game in about 20 seconds time, then Joe Cullen is brilliant. But he might be playing a little bit longer because Martinez wants double top for a 160 checkout, and what a shot that is. On we go.
Joe to throw first. Game on.
Well, I think even that brought a smile to Joe Cullen's face. What a shot from the Belgian. The man of Spanish descent. He likes to bring smiles to people's faces, Tony Martinez. And even if he doesn't get through this match, I sincerely hope we see him again because he's an infectious character.
44.
Oh, we had a 156 from Jermaine Watermena in his defeat to Ian White. That's been superseded by the brilliant Belgian.
150.
The way I would look at it, if I was Joe Cullen in this position, I would say, right, he's just given me an opportunity to up my average a bit.
Well, he's rising all the time, up near 110.
He's done this before on the European Tour, but it looks like he could do it all day. The amount of 180s we're hitting so far today, I think the crowd are going to get sore arms from lifting those 180 signs up. Could be curtains for the Belgian right now.
41 left, so double 16 to complete a superb performance. The likes of Michael van Gerwen and Peter Wright will have to go some to beat this standard set by Joe Cullen. Average of around 110. Where will it be at the end? The end has been reached. Joe Cullen, a superb performance. 160 the highlight for Tony Martinez, but look at that, 108.3 from Joe Cullen in a 6-3 victory to move through to the last 16 and the final day of action here at the GDGP. Cullen through to the last 16. We'll hear from him in a second after a superb performance, and then we will be back with Benito van der Pas and Jamie Caven. Let's hear from Cullen first.
Spielt den bislang höchsten Average hier im Turnier mit 108. Aber auch ein tolles Debüt auf der European Tour von Tony Martinez. So, congratulations. That was a good one. What do you think, which average you had? Have a feeling for that? 94? Are you serious? 108. 94. Also hat gedacht, dass er einen 94er Average hat. Das war eine 108.
No, it was, I didn't realise it was that high. I knew I was playing well, but if I'm honest, Tony, I'd never heard of him. He was sort of an unknown quantity, so to speak, and in the back, and everyone was telling me how good he is and how cocky he is, and I was just thinking, you're not as good as me. You will not win. But obviously, everyone in the back saying he's got every chance. I was like, no, if we're looking to get 2 legs, he got 3 in the end. That was because of a 160, which was class, to be fair. But no, I'm just happy to win.
A fall like that, do you realize that at the practice board as well? Does it start already there, or is it just with the beginning of the match that you think, oh, okay, I'm really good today?
No, to be honest, I didn't feel great in practice. I was bored. I got here at like 10:30. I was bored after half an hour. I was just like doing impressions of people just to sort of keep myself entertained, and maybe I'll do the same tomorrow. But hopefully, like I say, it's a win's a win, and averages are regardless. But I'm just happy.
Good to see you tomorrow again. Thank you very much. Joe Cullen, der sagt, diesen Tony Martinez, ich kannte den überhaupt nicht. Mir haben sie alle gesagt,